Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Idle Angels video. And today, as promised, I will try to summarize the support lineup, or how to build a support lineup in the video, as short as possible, but also explaining everything important about the supports. Now, for this video, I'm not going to be explaining each support, what they do exactly, how good, beneficial every single skill that they have is for the PVE, or how to build every single support from 0 to the maximum. This will be more or less to give you in-depth of every single support on the surface level, what they do provide. Is it death evasion? Is it providing damage buffs? Is it providing damage reduction? And from there on, how to prioritize which support it's more important to build depending on the stage that you are currently in the game. So I do hope that you will find this video very useful, and it will kind of give you the insights of the supports on a surface level. So I don't want to delay any more with some gibberish information. Hope that everything is visible on the screen. So we are going to start with the minimal investments needed for each support, which is here on the middle of the screen. Now we can see that the top row is the MR DPS. I do suggest everybody to be building an MR based DPS because this is the cheapest option that you can have in the game, and from there on you can start building the supports quite faster than choosing an SSR plus DPS. So let's say you've gotten your MR DPS, it's already maxed out, and now here comes the most common question: what support do I start to build now? So in my personal opinion, you have a lot of choices on what you want to start building, but keep in mind prioritization of supports is also mattering on how many blue scrolls you have currently, which supports are available for someone for the current week, and which stage are you stuck on PVE. So let's start from the beginning. Depending on how many blue scrolls you have, you can decide if you can reach a certain stage of a support that will be very beneficial for you. For instance, let's say you are looking at Horus. You want to build Horus for your team because she provides death evasion, but you have only 100 blue scrolls. This means you cannot get the UR plus of the Horus because you don't have enough blues, and you will be able to build only the UR stage. In that case, it's better to save blue scrolls and skip the week of summoning for Horus, and next week when another support that is available and you want to build is showing up in the Incarnation Reborn event or weekend sale, then you go for that one instead, because that way you will have one support that is going to be beneficial for your team. Otherwise, you will have a lot of supports built to a certain stage that don't really benefit you or your DPS at all. So, as I said, on the minimal investments needed for each support, the Horus we want at least UR plus for her, because this will be providing you the death evasion for the team, and you want to place Horus on position 7 most likely, but later on when you get the incarnation power of Horus as well, you can start to move her into the main team too. Keep in mind, this list over here, it's not the priority of from top to bottom you need to and you must build them like that. It is dependent on how many blue scrolls you have at the current moment in order to start building for that support. Second, we have the Fuxi. Fuxi is being the replacement of Hera. She provides a encourage buff which will increase your attack of the DPS, and that way your DPS will be dealing quite a lot of damage. The minimal investment for her to work out should be MR1 Incarnation level 3, even though you can make her work out at Incarnation level 3 only, but still MR1 Incarnation level 3 is very nice to get. Enmo, you want at least Incarnation level 3 in order for her to feel nice into your team. What she provides is that she is going to give you more crit damage to your DPS, which is very, very strong because your DPS is most likely going to be always critting up. I done MR3 as minimal investment. MR1 is already providing some nice buffs. MR3 is the minimal because I think you get 30% attack and 30% damage buff for your ally, and MR5 later on will provide you 50% damage buff and 50% damage buff and attack buff. Of course, before Iden, you are going to be using either Zodiac Rabbit or Zodiac Horse. So the idea is that Zodiac Rabbit and Zodiac Horse are going to take the place of Iden in the early stages. But before you move into the mid game, it will be very nice if you can grab at least an MR3 Iden. Sim Incarnation level 3, this is a death evasion support. So what Sim Incarnation level 3 will give you is some death evasion so your team doesn't die instantly in the PvE stages. Hela MR2, this is one of the most expensive supports, and in my opinion Hela is something you only want to build during weekend sale events where you get additional UR and UR plus shards. For every 10 summons you do, you will be getting 2 more shards. So in my opinion, build Hela only during that time that there is a weekend sale event. Hela will be providing you a nice attack buff, and Hela pairs very, very nicely with Fuxi and with Horus Incarnation and UR plus passive. So in my opinion, Hela is a support that you will definitely need, but it's something that you shouldn't rush as your second or third support in my opinion. Of course, unless the timing is in a way that the weekend sale is allowing you to build her UR and UR plus way cheaper than usual. Jean MR1 ER1. This is another death evasion support which will nicely provide some opportunities for your angels to survive on the main lineup. Of course, the best option will be MR5 with Incarnation level 3, but for a starter, you just want to grab MR1 with Incarnation level 1. Raf MR1 Incarnation level 4. The idea here is that MR1 you can even skip for the PvE. You only need the Incarnation level 4, but I've put MR1 as well because it's only 60 plus and it's something cheap that will also benefit you on the PvP side. If I'm not mistaken, she will buff your holy damage, which is incredibly good for your DPS for PvE. After that, we have Ember Dragon Incarnation level 4. I have put Ember Dragon Incarnation level 4 instead of Cupid. So basically Cupid and Ember Dragon do the same thing. They will buff your holy damage for your DPS. So if you need more damage to kill the boss, definitely Cupid or Ember Dragon will do the job. And also Cupid and Ember Dragon passives, I mean skills, can stack, so you can have a nice, better buffer in that case. If you have already built Cupid Incarnation level 2 or 4, it's okay to build Ember Dragon Incarnation level 5 later on as well, because Ember Dragon provides a stronger buff, but also Ember Dragon and Cupid, as I mentioned, they stack their buffs, so you can also use both at the same time on the same lineup. Then we have Poseidon Incarnation level 4 MR1, which in my opinion should be one of the latest supports that you build, because we use Poseidon only because her Incarnation level 4 allows you to gain 30% increased buff received for your teams. So in that case, it means once you have 7-8 supports already being built that provide you nice buffs to the DPS, you can put Poseidon in and increase all of those buffs by another additional 30%. Overall, the minimal investments, PvE lineup to reach stage 120 and the PvE lineup max stage, all those 3 columns that you see, they have the same exact supports. You just build more and more in order to push further and further. So in my opinion, this is something that you should and definitely could focus on. It's easily accessible to build. I've been playing the game for a year and I have pushed stage 128 50, which is very impressive in my opinion. I am not a free-to-play player. I have spent around 120 euros onto the game, but not all of that went into building my lineup. So in my opinion, it is very, very possible as a free-to-play player to be able to beat PvE stages. Let's talk about the optional supports. On the optional supports, I have put Cupid Incarnation level 2 and 4, as I mentioned, because I just prefer Ember Dragon because her buff is stronger. And personally, I don't need Cupid and Ember Dragon at the same time due to using Lucifer, but there might be some DPSs that would need both Cupid and Ember Dragon buffs in order to deal enough holy damage. Chaos Incarnation level 1 will flatly give you 50% damage buffs because once Cupid casts her, once Chaos casts her Incarnation power, the enemy that got hit will take 50% increased damage. It's not a complete waste to build it, but as you can see, we don't use Chaos into the later stages. So if you have grabbed Chaos and you are wondering if she is useful and you already have built Incarnation level 1 or more, you can use it, and that's how she will be helping you in the PvE. Now Capricorn. Capricorn is very, very useful at MR1 stage, and what you want is to have Capricorn at MR5, because she will be passively increasing the HP, which means she can double the HP of your lineups, and hella one of the best supports for PvE. She does the attack buff based on her max HP, so you can see where I'm going. You have a maxed up Capri, you put her in, and hella buff is way stronger that way, almost twice as strong depending on how built your Capricorn is. But keep in mind, I haven't really seen Capricorn being used into the PvE lineups lately. So Capricorn was very, very useful and strong between probably the stages 120 to 130, 40-ish. But now at the end game, we see other supports being used and Capricorn is falling behind for PvE. So in my opinion, you have to keep that in mind if you have decided to build Capricorn for PvE. For PvP, she is great in my opinion. Uriel Incarnation level 0. She negates the boss damage for 1 round, and in my opinion, it was one of the best investments I could do early on. Of course, at the stage that I am right now, 130, I am not using Uriel as much as I used to play with her between stages 80 to 105, but I did find her very, very useful early on. I do find her useful in some PvP situations as well. So in my opinion, it's not that bad to have Uriel Incarnation level 0. Hera, my suggestion is that if you are considering Hera, the minimum will be MR1 Incarnation level 3. Of course, you can use Hera as Incarnation level 3 and UR plus as well, but you will try to do MR1 and Incarnation level 3, in my opinion, as early as possible. And Fuxi is cheaper and does kind of the same thing for PvE that Hera does. But if you have both of the angels, you could also use both Hera and Fuxi in PvE, but it's a bit tricky. And if you have both built up, I suggest that you could join the Discord channel and ask how to use those two in the specific orders in order to benefit from both buffs. Taurus Incarnation level 3 gives 50% damage, skill damage, and attack. It's one of the most incredible supports when it comes to PvP and PvE, in my opinion. It's very, very cheap and it is incredibly good. I haven't put her on the minimal investments or the PvE must build lineup yet, because it's still hard for me to see if all of the older players and veterans and whales are using Taurus or they prefer the other supports. But in my opinion, it is definitely very, very strong if you build Taurus Incarnation power 3 to use in PVE. And lastly, we have the Merlin on the optional supports, which will give you that evasion. Of course, with Merlin, you can go even further and max out the MR stages of Merlin and build her incarnation level 1. But keep in mind that with Merlin, the tricky part is in order for her buffs that do the damage buffs for your DPS, you will need to put Merlin on position 4 or 5 in order for her to cast the MR skill on your DPS. So Merlin should be on the same line as the DPS, and on top of that, the death evasion must be procced in order to get the damage buff. So there are quite a lot of conditions to use Merlin, but if you manage to find a solution how to proc the Merlin death evasion, it will be very nice and beneficial for you to grab and utilize in PvE. Overall, this is going to be it for the beginning, plus the optional supports that you can build. Here on the note, we have rough MR is for PvP. Yes and no. When I wrote it, I thought that it's only for PvP, but also it gives you energy increase recovery. But in that case, the rough MR, you will care about it only when it comes to pushing for the max stage. So don't really bother with rough MR early on. Sim MR1 and Enmo MR1 can be delayed as last. This goes for the maximum stage of the PvE lineups because it is nice to get, but it's really expensive to build, and other supports will provide you more buffs for cheaper. That's why we put MR1 of Enmo and Sim as one of the latest things that we want to push. Sim Incarnation level 3 is the first checkpoint, and Incarnation level 5 is really nice to grab, but again for the later stages. This one should be delayed at least after you reach the 100 stage mark minimum. Poseidon Incarnation level 4 can be delayed and used as last, as I mentioned. Of course, not completely as last support to build, but one on the later stages. In my opinion, when I say that, it's you should always have like 10 supports already semi-built, so you have nice buffs being provided, and then you can go for the Poseidon. Cupid Incarnation level 2 is cheap and can be built earlier. Of course, if you don't want to go for the Ember Dragon buff, or you already have Cupid Incarnation level unlocked or Incarnation level 1, you can go for the Incarnation level 2, and Incarnation level 4 is nice, but Incarnation level 2 is as useful as it can be for the early to mid, and mid to late game should be strong enough. So we talked about the early game, we talked about the optional supports, we talked about the nodes. Then we have the PvE lineup stage for 120-ish. I use this because this is what I have built already. So more or less, this is what I have on my account and how I managed to reach stage 130. So it took me 10,000 blue scrolls, and as you can see, this is the amount of the supports that I have and how I have built them. Also, I do use Lucifer as my DPS. So overall, this is what I have built and how well it suits me, with the small change that my Fuxi is MR5 and my Jean is MR5 as well. And my Hela is maxed out, but the Jean and the Fuxi happened after I reached stage 120. Then for the max stage, I have taken the screenshots of some of the whales and other players that have beaten the max stage and what they have used as minimum in order to beat it. Of course, this was a while ago, so it might have some changes, and this one will probably change the most because the max stage is increasing every single time. But believe me, it will most likely, even if you you need to spend a lot of money in order to be able to reach the max stage before your first year and before you start to understand the game nicely. So if it comes to the max stage and how to reach the max stage, most likely you will be already at the point of the game that you understand it very good. And this list over here will make more or less sense on how and what you need to push and build. Once again, thank you guys for showing your support. I managed to reach the 500 subscribers, so I have applied for the monetization of the YouTube channel, and with it should come some perks should come to the channel, with which I will do my best to find a way how to utilize it for you guys so you get the benefits as well. It will take me some time, so if you have any ideas, please do share them in the comments below, because I will be more than happy to find ways for you guys to benefit from this YouTube channel as much as possible. Also, when it comes to what support what each support does on its own and how to build them, I am working on a presentation in another guide in which I will try to go over every single support that we currently have into the game and shortly describe why each breakpoint is so important, what it does. I think I managed to do it in this video on a surface level, but of course I would like to do it on a more in-depth level as well. So with that, I'd like to thank you all for watching the videos, subscribing, liking, commenting, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to join the Discord channel or drop a comment below. Once again, thank you all for watching. Hope I'll see you on the next one.